Hello from Purtis Creek State Park here in Eustis, Texas. I'm taking my weekly Sunday ramble, and as usual, I feel like talking, so here I am. I want to develop my thoughts about an essay that I read back in the 80s, back when we were just getting started homeschooling our children. Alfred North Whitehead, a British mathematician from the 20th century, earlier 20th century, wrote about stages of learning, and he identified these three, which I found at the time and still do find very insightful, very interesting, and I'm going to relate them to being an artist. The first stage of learning that Alfred North Whitehead identified was what he called the romantic stage. This is the stage where a child or even an adult is in a new learning situation and they are just alive with the desire to experiment and enjoy the materials, the topic, the adventure of that moment. The last thing wanted is over-instruction, over-discipline. You can easily see this with children, with crayons or in a sandbox, playing with blocks. I mean, can you imagine trying to tell the child now, sweetheart, the blocks have to go like this if you want this tower to stand up. Otherwise, it's going to fall if you do it that way. You know, the whole adventure of learning and discovery gets, you get robbed of that, which we certainly don't want to do. So there's that first stage of romance, so to speak. I call it the honeymoon phase, where everything related to the topic or the materials or the subject is intoxicating. You can't get enough, and you just want to run with it by yourself to see where it will take you and what will come of it. Now, continuing in that topic, that experience, or with those materials, it's very likely that we get to the next stage that Alfred North Whitehead identified, which is all about precision. Okay, once you get to the point of you have a goal, and in order to achieve it, it takes some care, perhaps even some planning. I mean, if a child wants to make a tower out of blocks, then they're going to have to do some calculating and figuring, not with pencil and paper, but from their experience, what works, what doesn't work. And then there's a third phase, which is often called generalization. Well, I mean, that's what he called it, Alfred North Whitehead. And this is the point where principles have been extracted and can even be used to predict results. So, I, for myself, apply this to my art journey in the sense that I very much feel like I am in the romantic phase, or what I like to call the honeymoon. I have only one desire at the moment, and that is to have fun with color, with paints and brushes, canvas, and just not just uninhibited and unfiltered expression, but just the fullest of adventure and joy just comes into me when I stand before, a 6 foot, 8 foot, or most recently 13 foot by 6 foot canvas. What a sublime experience that is, to be set free. Oh my word. I have no idea if there will be another phase for me. I just don't know. I've mentioned this before, that my first interaction with art instruction was when I was 17, and I happened to bring home a book from the library, which was trying to develop, or at least discuss, a children's curriculum for art. And the first chapter, they didn't call it the romantic phase, but that's what it was about. Give children access to materials and just let them have a week or two during art period to play without any guidance or direction, to create whatever they want. Now, successive chapters headed into, perspective, shading, control of materials, etc. I never read those chapters. Okay, that 2-week period, has overtaken my life. So from the age of 17 until I was 30, I would go in and out of my art experiments, so to speak. And in my 20s was really beginning to get quite serious about that. But then my husband and I were married, and we began having children. And so from the age of 30 until 60 plus, I didn't do anything with art until 2012, when I decided, not only is art coming back into my life, but I want to go way into this. So now I am alive with this romantic phase, as he would call it, and as I would describe it as well. And I don't even know if there's going to be a phase of precision or generalization. Now maybe, I don't know. No fixed conclusions here. This is gushing and sharing about the concept of playing without any desire or intention of imitating someone else's path, finding out. I don't want to jump any shortcuts to get to, refinement and sophistication, and here's how to get stellar art. No way. I want to be the owner of my journey, not the owner of someone else's journey. I know it sounds like, okay, I have to invent my own wheel, but I don't look at it that way. I look at it more like I want to live the